Today, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be talking about how to find buyers for your deals. That is something that comes up a lot, and that is something that I hear from a lot of people that are just getting started in this business. One of the things that I hear is, I can get properties under contract, but then I can't find any buyers for my deals. All right. Well, number one, getting properties under contract, especially if you're not negotiating and you're not really getting it at the right price, that's easy. And anybody can do that. Anybody can go onto Zillow, find a for sale by owner, and give the seller what it is that they're looking for. Make them an offer for their asking price and get that under contract. So the first challenge that new people have is the fact that, number one, you're probably locking up deals way too high, and that's the reason that you're having a difficult time either assigning it to an end buyer or just closing on the deal yourselves. So the first skill that you're going to have to learn is you're going to have to learn really how to negotiate better. You're going to have to learn how to identify what the exit strategy is going to be better. So when you're looking at a deal, getting it under contract's the easy part. Right? That's why it baffles me that people say, well, I can get deals, I just can't find buyers. Well, the reason you can't find buyers is because the deals that you're getting are probably not really deals. They're grossly overpriced. So number one, work on your negotiating skills. That's the first thing that you're going to have to do. You're going to have to get better at negotiating the right price to get that property under, so that you could either A, perform, or B, find the right end buyer. The second thing that you're going to have to do is you're going to have to identify what the best exit strategy is for it. Okay, so not all deals are just going to be cash deals. You can't assume that every time you talk to a seller, you're just going to offer them 30, 40, 50, 60 cents on the dollar and then think that they're going to accept that offer. There's plenty of properties that aren't fixer uppers that are going to be fix and flips for buyers. Okay, there's going to be some that are in betweeners, which means that they're not tear downs, they're not complete total rehabs. You could still live in them, and buyers could live in those properties and probably fix them up and slowly upgrade the properties while they live in them. But they're not fully rehabbed either. So they're in between fixer upper and they're in between completely rehabbed. They're somewhere in the middle, right? They're just dated, they're old, but they're still livable. Okay, they're fully functional houses. Those are the type of houses where the exit strategy is probably going to be some type of a novation or some type of a seller finance, or depending on whether or not they may have refinanced in the last few years, there could also be some type of a subject to transaction where you'd be able to take over the mortgage. But you're probably not going to get away with just offering them 70 cents on the dollar and thinking that you're going to get your offer accepted for those kind of homes, because again, they're not tear downs and they're not complete gut jobs or rehabs, but at the same token, they're not, they're still not updated. Okay, so you have to make sure that you negotiate better. You have to make sure that you know how to comp it better, and your numbers a lot better. And more importantly, that you also need to identify what is going to be the best exit strategy for that particular deal. That is going to make you finding buyers for your deals a lot easier, significantly easier, when you do those three things. Now, another thing that I see on the internet a lot is, I see people talking about, well, you just wrap up the deal, you hop onto these websites. I'm not going to say what the websites are, but you hop onto these websites. Some of them have the name cartel in them. And then you just put the deal in there. You type in the address, and then one of their investors is going to buy the property. It's not that easy. If it was that easy, then all of us would be doing the exact same thing. I just read like a Reddit thread about somebody that went onto one of these websites and they typed in 200 different addresses, and in that particular website, their fund, their hedge fund, whatever, their buyer, no, they didn't want any of those deals. And again, you have to understand that if this business was that simple, where you just type in an address on a website and they say they're going to buy the property from you, then everybody would be making tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars every single month using those strategies. So I don't want anybody seeing those videos thinking that, oh, I just got to type in an address and they're going to have a buyer for me for that deal. That's not how it works. They might have a buyer for you for that deal if you get it at the right price and if it meets their criteria. A lot of things I've been seeing a lot of other videos and shorts about people talking about all these hedge funds that are buying up properties. And yes, are hedge funds still buying up properties? Absolutely, they are still buying properties, so long as the property that you are bringing to them meets their criteria. And their criteria is very, very, very specific. So you have to understand that if you think that all you're going to do is just go out there, get a property under contract, and then try to sell it to a Buybox whatever or a hedge fund whatever, that you have to understand that those properties Will they buy them? Yes, but they absolutely have to meet a certain criteria that the funds are looking for. And unless you're, being very, very specific, sniper specific about what deals they're looking for, you're going to have a tough time selling them. That's why I'm doing this video. That's why I'm doing this training, so that you know how to identify the deals. But not only that, you know how to build your own buyers list. You know how to find your own buyers, so that you're not reliant on the Buybox whatever website that you got to put an address in and hope that they are going to buy their property, or your deal, your property, so that you're not reliant on getting a deal under contract and then hoping that a hedge fund is going to buy the property. Will they buy it? Sure. Sometimes they will, sometimes they won't, but what are you going to do next? You have to have a system, a strategy for you to be able to find your own buyers so that you could sell your own deals. In addition to that, when you're selling the deals yourself, right, let's be real, you're making more money. Okay, when you can build your own buyers list, you're going to be making more money versus when you're reliant on somebody else to bring the buyer to you. All right. Now, I know that our name has, the name Dispo Dragons in it, and that's one of the things that we specialize for new people. So if you're brand new and you need help, getting that deal out there, finding a buyer for that deal. Sure, I'd love to look at it. We'd love a chance at finding a buyer for it. But at the same time, wouldn't it be great where you didn't have to rely on any of us, including Dispo Dragons, to be able to get that deal out there and sold for you? Absolutely, 100%. So let's talk about how you're going to find those buyers, where you're going to find those buyers, what you got to do to get those buyers and make more money and close more deals. First thing, I love it when the slideshow doesn't move. Okay, what is a buyer lead? A buyer lead is someone who's going to purchase. Now, I know that sounds stupid and I know that sounds easy, but you have to make sure that you're identifying buyers. When you are promoting deals and when you are talking to other deals that are out there, there are going to be a lot of people who aren't necessarily buyers. There's a lot of wholesalers out there, and God bless them. They're trying to generate business. They're trying to find buyers. They want to do joint ventures, but you're going to have to ask them point blank. Number one, are you the end buyer, or do you have an end buyer, or are you looking for a JV? So you need to identify really, really quickly when someone is approaching you, whether or not they are a buyer, and you're going to have to ask them certain questions. So these questions include, what are you going to do with the property, right? Are you an investor? Are you going to flip it? Are you going to buy and hold it? What is it that you want to do with this particular type of property? So get good at asking that question, because not every buyer is going to be a fix and flipper. A lot of them are, but some of them are going to be buy and hold. Some of them are going to be Airbnb, and some of those buyers are going to be wrap buyers. Okay, depending again on your exit strategy, some of those buyers are going to be people that you're going to resell the property to using your own type of seller financing that you're going to wrap around the existing financing or existing structure, or seller financing that you offer yourself. Okay. Next thing, you want to identify a buyer's buy box, right? So you need to know what it is that the buyer is going to be buying. Some buyers will not go over a certain price point, and it makes sense because it becomes difficult to then sell more expensive, higher end property. So you need to ask them what their buy box is like. You need to know their price point. You need to know what areas they're going to be purchasing in. There are certain areas that some investors aren't going to touch. So it's important that you ask them what their buy box is. You want to know their location, right? There's some investors that won't touch rural areas. There's some investors that won't touch urban areas for whatever reason. There's some investors that won't touch condos or townhomes. It's important that you ask them where their location is and where they're looking to purchase, all right? This is important too for you to identify when you're talking to buyers. Now, on that note, sometimes I do get questions about people who say, should I build my buyers list before going out there and looking for sellers? And there's nothing wrong with that. There are plenty of people who have been incredibly successful working that way. I will tell you, though, that the sweeter the deal, the greater the chances of buyers coming to you. So it goes back to what I started with, which is number one, your ability to negotiate the best price and identify the best exit strategy is going to determine how sweet that deal is going to be. So there's two ways of looking at this. Either you get really, really good at negotiating, right, those deals, and the buyers will come out of the woodworks for you, or you build your buyers list and you start identifying where they want to purchase. Where they want to purchase the properties from you. Sorry, if I glance up, it's because I'm looking at the comments and I have a really long vertical screen where I get to analyze all of that stuff. So anyway, you're going to ask the location. Next thing is the price point. I said this earlier, but some buyers don't want to go beyond a certain price point. Some buyers don't want to go below a certain price point because they feel like the threshold is going to be too low for them to really generate any type of a profit. So you want to identify the price point. You want to know where it is that they're buying, and you want to know what is the max price point and what is the minimum price point that that buyer is not going to go beyond. Next thing is condition. So some buyers, they only want lipstick fixers, right? They just want properties that they can go in there, paint, put new flooring, put it back on the market. And then there's some buyers that are open to complete and total gut jobs. And then there are some buyers who really just want to purchase properties for their land value, demolish them, and build them brand new because it's cheaper for them to build a brand new home versus, trying to rehab the one that's already there. So you ask the buyer, like, look, Mr. or Mrs. Buyer, what type of properties are you looking for? What is your price point? What's your location? And more importantly, what is the condition that you're looking at? Are you open to properties that are complete gut jobs? Are you open to properties that are fire damaged and need to be demoed? Are you open to, and you continue asking these questions until you figure out what it is that they're really looking for and what the condition is. All right, experience. This is important, and this is where a lot of new people, when you're trying to assign a contract, they drop the ball. They don't want to ask the buyer what the buyer's experience is like because they are afraid of offending the buyer. And here's what happens. If you don't ask this question, it's easy to get and assign a contract. It's more difficult to get out of a contract once you are in bed with them, once you are married to that buyer, and once you've given up control of that deal by assigning the contract to that buyer, which is why you need to do a little bit of due diligence on a lot of due diligence on the buyer that you are going to assign the contract to. Experience is very, very important, and you should never be afraid of asking questions like, hey, Mr. or Mrs. Buyer, just out of curiosity, how many deals or how many flips or how many properties have you purchased, in this area? Now, you're going to get some of them that are veterans, some of them that are very experienced, and they're going to probably answer you, something like, hey, I've done like 30, 40, 50 flips in this area. Hey, I own 150 properties in this area. I work with Ben, based out of Cincinnati, very, very closely. He got me on the phone with somebody who was telling me, I've got 150 properties. I don't, and they're going to act a certain way, and you're not going to take offense to that. You're just going to show them that you have to do your due diligence. Mr. and Mrs. Buyer, look, I'm sorry. This is part of my process. And if I was to work with you, I hope you can appreciate the fact that I carry myself like a professional, and these are important questions that I need to ask, and that's why I'm asking you, how many deals have you done? How many flips have you done? How many doors do you own? How many properties have you done this with? And you'll see how all of a sudden what that does is it shows them that you're professional, and it gives you a little bit more leverage and a little bit more posture when you're negotiating with them versus where you just let the buyer control the entire conversation, right? So you want to ask about that experience. That experience is very, very, very important, okay? I can't stress this enough because even I've made the mistake of assigning a property to a buyer. And once you assign a property to a buyer, they have control over that contract unless they don't perform in the time frame that you gave them on the assignment agreement. So if you gave them 15 days to close that deal, then you're going to have to sit tight for that 15 days and wait for them to actually perform and close that deal. And if you gave them 5 to 7 days for them to deposit their earnest money deposit inside of the title company or the closing company, well, you're going to have to sit tight for 5 to 7 days for them to make that deposit in order for you to cancel or move on to the next buyer if they don't perform. This is why experience is so important. Okay, let's move on. Time frame. Okay. Now, when you're talking to people, you really want to make sure that you ask them, okay, Mr. and Mrs. Buyer, how quickly can you close on this deal? All right. Always ask them that question. Can you close on this deal in the next 2 weeks, 2 to 3 weeks? Can you close on this deal in the next, 4 to 6 weeks? Now, if you're building your buyer's list, right? If you're just getting started and you're like, well, I'm building this buyer's list, that question may not necessarily apply to me. Well, then the question that you're going to ask them is, Mr. or Mrs. Buyer, if I can find you an opportunity in the next 7 to 10 days, are you going to be able to perform and purchase, or are you about 60 to 90 days away from actually making a purchase and making this transaction happen? Now, this is important too, because look, if you have a deal in hand already, you need them to perform, right? You want them to perform as quickly as possible. And if you're talking to a buyer, an end buyer that says, well, look, listen, I'm not going to be able to close on this in the next 60 to 90 days, well, now they're not going to be able to do anything. Okay, so you have to ask this question. This is another question that's important. Now, I know that there's going to be some people that are going to argue and they're going to say, well, that should be in the assignment agreement. In the assignment agreement, they should know already that they're going to have to close in, in 14 to 21 days. Look, yes, it should be in the assignment agreement, but if you don't ask the buyer point blank, how quickly can you close on this? What is your time frame? This is the time frame that I need to close on this. Then what's going to happen is, again, you're going to find yourself assigning a contract in bed in a marriage with someone that may need more time to perform. All right, so get the time frame out of them, just like you need to get the experience out of them as well. All right. Don't be afraid to ask for prior sales history. Now, I talked about this in experience, so I don't think I'm going to really talk too much about it, about prior sales history. But again, you ask about the experience. How many times have you done this? How many properties have you flipped? Can you give me like 2 or 3 property addresses that you've done this with already, just so that I could verify this? I hope you appreciate me asking you this, because it demonstrates to you how professional I am and how serious I take this. So you have a couple addresses that you can give to me, and you can show me that you've done a few flips, that you can show me that you've done a few buy and holds, that you can show me that you've bought a few properties, a few doors. Is there anything that I can verify? And you'd be surprised. Like the ones who are real players, they'll have no trouble giving you the addresses. No trouble. Right? But the minute that they start to hem and haw, and me using phrases like that, what that does is it demonstrates just how old I am. But if they start to hem and haw and complain about the fact that you're asking those questions, and they don't want to provide you with that information, that should be a red flag right away. Right away, you should be concerned, because like, the real players, they don't have a problem with it. Yeah, look up this address, 1234 Mockingbird Lane. Yeah, check out this address, 1234 Mockingbird Lane. Those are 2 deals that I did. Okay, and some of those investors, they're proud of their work, right? They're proud of the product that they put out, and so they'll give you the address so that you could see. I have had people I haven't even asked, and they'll come and tell me, hey, look, check out this address. It's right down the street from the property that you're representing. It's right down the street from the deal that you're representing. Here's this property address. I did that flip down the street. Okay, those are the players. Those are the ones. When they have no problem showing you their past work, now you know you're dealing with somebody that's serious. I'm checking the comments again. All right. Thanks, guys. So where do we find buyers? Let's start talking about this. Okay, so you got a deal, and now you're trying to find buyers for the deal. One of the best places to find buyers for the deals is by using Facebook groups, okay? Now, here's what I see a lot of new people doing. A lot of new people will then get a deal, and they will hop on to all of the real estate, Facebook groups, and they'll start blasting their deal on all of the different real estate website group or real estate Facebook groups in the investor side, on the realtor side, on the wholesale side. And while I appreciate you doing that, and I think that it's great that you're doing that, a lot of times people aren't necessarily looking for deals in those groups. A lot of those people who are members of those groups are actually people like you and me who are looking to learn more information. So sometimes you'll be able to get a deal out of that. Sometimes you won't, depending on how deal specific it might be. What you really want to do is you want to find Facebook groups in that particular niche, or in that particular city, excuse me, not niche, in that particular city where the deal is. So you're going to hop in there and you're going to look into yard sales in, whatever town it might be. Free items in whatever town it might be. Smaller clicks, smaller groups, smaller community groups, and that's where you're going to promote the opportunity. Okay, promote it within that little area, as opposed to trying to just promote it in one big, massive Facebook group. So, promoting your deals in like a wholesale group that's general, that just covers the entire country, isn't probably going to get it as much attention versus you posting it in Facebook groups that are much more city specific. Okay, so if you want to look up real estate investors in Dallas, for instance, that's smarter than you just posting it on a massive, real estate wholesaling training group. You're going to get more attention doing it that way versus the other way. All right. Now, the next thing that you're going to want to do is you're going to want to go into other, city-specific groups, and then you're going to want to look at what other people are posting. So if you see other people posting opportunities, other realtors, other investors, other wholesalers posting other deals in these city-specific groups, the best place to find these buyers is in the comments. All right, when you see people posting comments saying, hey, I'm interested in this deal, or I'm interested in this, hey, send me more information, what you want to do is you want to reach out to those people who are commenting, because those are obviously the buyers that are looking at that opportunity. And then you'll comment on their post saying, hey, I just sent you a DM. through Facebook and then send them the information on your deal. Okay, you won't believe the number of deals that we've actually sold that way. Yeah, I know it's a little bit of trolling on Facebook groups and trolling on the comments, but it works. You'll be able to find buyers that way. Okay, so using the Facebook groups to either promote it in city specific areas versus wide general real estate sites, like real estate investors globally. Like, honestly, who cares? Why would you even post it there? Make it as city specific as possible, and you're going to get a lot more traction. While you're in those Facebook groups that are city specific, what you're going to do is you're going to read the comments, and you're going to look for the people that are commenting on other people's deals, and you're going to reach out to those people as well. All right, so Facebook groups really does work to find those buyers. Next thing, title reps. Okay, this is huge. Title reps know who a lot of the investors are because they see who are buying these properties all cash. They see the entities that are coming out there and purchasing it. And so you want to reach out to your local title rep. I talk about how title reps can be your best friends. And so what you're going to want to do is you're going to hop in onto Google and you're going to look up title reps local to me. All right. Remember, title representatives ensure the transaction, okay? It's their job to ensure that transaction so that when the buyer purchases it, they're not going to have trouble reselling the property later on. They also make sure there's no clouds on title. They also make sure that there's no liens. They make sure that it has clear title in order to facilitate the transaction. So what you want to do is you want to look up local title reps near you. You want to get on the phone. You want to reach out to them, and you want to introduce yourself to them. And you're going to say, Mr. or Mrs. Title Rep, listen, my name is Paul. I am a real estate investor. I'm going to be looking to purchase some properties and I need your help. I wanted to see if you could help me. Now, there's a couple of ways to use the title reps. Number one, I'm going to deviate just a little bit. Number one, you can use them to order farm packages. Now, farm packages is a term widely known within the real estate community, especially amongst real estate agents. A farm package is really just a list of property owners, and sometimes they will include their names, sometimes they won't. You can go to them and you can say, Mr. and Mrs. Title Rep, I need a farm package in this zip code, in this county, in this area, and here's the parameters that I would like it in. I'd like for them to have, you can do whatever you want, 95% loan to value. I'd like for them to have tax liens within the next 5 years. I'd like for them to have, 100% equity on their property. Whatever it is that you want, you can give them those filters, and trust me, they'll be able to find you that farm package. They'll be able to find you that database. They'll be able to find you that list. Yes, I'm calling it a bunch of different names because I want it to sink in so you understand what I'm talking about when I call it a farm package. They can get that farm package to you probably the same day, maybe 2 days at most, and then they'll send it to you in, a CSV or an Excel spreadsheet file, and then you'll have access to it. Now, sometimes it's skip trace, sometimes it's not. The big question I get is, well, why would they help me? Because they get a commission every transaction you close and every time you designate them as as the title representative on that file. So they win when you win. They want to help you succeed. Lean on your title reps. Give them a call and have them send you their farm package, and then you tell them, I'm going to prospect this farm package, and then you skip trace it yourself if you have to, and now you start prospecting. Okay, so that's the first way to use a title representative so that you can start prospecting your sellers. Now, on the flip side, they also know who the buyers are. Right? They can get you a list of all the properties that have been sold in a particular city, in a particular county, in a particular area, in the last 90 days, in the last 60 days, in the last 365 days of all the cash transaction, all the cash buyers that took place in an area, and they'll send you that list too. Yes, are a lot of them going to be in LLCs? Yes, that's part of the challenge. Will some of them be in personal names? Yes, they will be. Will some of them be in trusts? Yes, they will be. And you can get that list, and then you can try to skip trace that, cross-reference it, and reach out to those people as well. In some cases, these title representatives will actually have direct contact, direct knowledge of who is buying these properties, all cash, and you can actually reach out to them. You may be able to ask for an introduction. It's not going to happen on the first go-round. Don't think that they're just going to introduce you to them right away. But as they start to feel more confident about you as a professional in this business, there is a chance that they'll start to make those introductions to you, and then you'll start to meet the all cash buyers in that area as well. Okay, so keep that in mind. Use your title reps. They want you to win. They want to help you because they also win too, and they also earn their commissions off of every transaction when you designate that title representative as your representative of choice to the title company, closing company, escrow company, closing attorney, what have you. Okay? Next one, hard money lenders, right? Do you think that they know who the buyers are that are purchasing these properties all cash? Well, not necessarily all cash, but to flip them. Absolutely, they do. These hard money lenders know who is buying and flipping because they're the ones helping finance those transactions, which means you're going to have to get good at rubbing elbows with some hard money lenders, okay? You want to talk to them, you want to call them, you just do a Google search again, hard money lenders in my area. Hey, Mr. and Mrs. Hard Money Lender, listen, my name is Paul. I'm an investor. I'm going to be doing some deal hunting. I'm going to be finding some deals. I need your help. When I find these deals in this area, can I come to you, right? And can you help me identify who would be the best cash buyer or the best investor to send this deal to? Can you help me do that? Do you think that they're going to help you out? Absolutely, they're going to help you out. Why? Because they generate money off of those hard money lender fees, right? And those fees, they generate interest, they generate points, they make money. If the investor wins, they win, they get paid, you get paid, everybody wins. So reach out to the hard money lenders in your area, introduce yourself. I tell people to do this all the time, and for whatever reason, especially in the area or in the market that you have that deal in, right? Let's say that you're doing this virtually. If you're doing this virtually, okay, and you're doing it in another state or another city, big deal. So you just Google hard money lenders in designated city, and then you reach out to those people out there and you tell them, hey, listen, I'm working this market. I'm going to find us some deals, right? That's how you really want to talk. You want to tell them, I'm going to find us some deals. I want to know who you think I should send these deals to when I get them. Now, they're not going to give you the name or the number right then and there, right? But you just want to introduce yourself, and then you want to keep in touch with them, okay? And you want to follow up with them every couple of weeks or so as you make progress. Hey, I'm working on a deal. Hey, I'm working on a deal. I may have something. Who do you know that could be interested in it? And you keep reaching out to them. The more that you make contact with them, just like the title reps, the more likely that they're going to make those introductions to you so that you could meet the buyers that are using them for hard money loans. Those are the flippers, right? So reach out to your hard money lenders. Okay. This is an easy one. I don't know why people don't do this, okay? Real estate agents and Zillow. So you can hop onto Zillow and you can go out there and you can see all the houses that were flipped, all right? You know when a house is flipped. Now, sometimes even I have a challenging time looking at a property or a listing on Zillow, and then I'll say, oh, this was flipped, and then I'll go back and I'll see, well, it wasn't flipped. They actually owned it for 5 years. They've just maintained it in a very, very pristine condition, and they've rehabbed it, okay? So even I make that mistake just trying to use my eyeball. So what you're going to have to do is you're going to look at a property. If it looks super, super clean and it wasn't new construction, right? And you can tell right now, you know, the trends are a lot of whites, right? White countertops, quartz, light cabinets, whereas, you know, 10, 15 years ago, it was all darks, right? It was dark countertops, it was dark cabinets. I mean, some people still do that, but really right now it's all the brights and whites. So when you see a house that has that stuff and you can kind of tell it's been rehabbed, oh, and this is a dead giveaway. If you see photos on Zillow and you see the blue like shrink wrap on the dishwasher or on the fridge or on the microwave, that's probably a flip, you guys. Okay, if they left that blue, by the way, I don't know why that agent wouldn't have. I guess I know why they didn't peel it off. It's because they don't want it to get scratched or damaged. I get it, but it just doesn't look good for the photos, personally, I think. Anyway, if you see the blue shrink wrap on these stainless steel appliances, that's probably a flip. Now, what I want you to do is you scroll down and you look at the price history, the property history, and you take a look at when it was last purchased, okay? And you check to see if it was purchased in the last year. And if it was purchased in the last year from when they're putting it on the market or from when it last sold, then that was a flip. You're going to reach out to the listing agent for that flip, and you're going to say, Mr. and Mrs. Listing Agent, my name is Paul. Look, I'm an investor. Sometimes I come across deals in this area, in this market, where your investor, where your flipper flip property at 1234 Mockingbird Lane. I may come across other deals that they might be interested in. Would it be okay if I reached out to you when I get that deal and you make an introduction or you bring that opportunity to them? Would that be okay? Right? Now, they're going to say yes or they're going to say no, Or you're going to get some that are going to say, well, sure, I can make that introduction. Some real estate agents are okay with just making the introduction and then just putting the property back on the market for the flipper and becoming the listing agent. Some of them are okay. Some agents, right, really good negotiating ones, are going to say, okay, well, I'm going to request a 2% buyer's fee in order for me to bring them to the table, or 3% buyer's fee in order for me to bring them to the table. And then you're going to have to try to calculate that expense when you're negotiating the price, or as part of an expense to deduct from whatever assignment fee you're going to make if you're going to wholesale it. So just keep that in mind. All right, you can go to the real estate agent, you can get them involved. You might be able to get away with not paying them a fee, or you're going to pay them some type of a fee in order to make that introduction so that you could assign that to them. That's one way. Second way is you could say, okay, I see that it's flipped. I'm just going to go try to check the property history. I'm going to go back and see who was the person that owned it prior to the flip, and then I'm going to skip trace that, and I'm going to try to get a hold of that person myself. And that's one way to do it. Okay, so you can find them on Zillow, you can reach out to the realtor, or you can just skip trace it and go back and find out who was the person that did the flip themselves. All right, that's another way to do it. So, and we're on our last slide, and I think we did it in 30 minutes or less. So anyway, just to recap really quickly to everybody. So I appreciate you standing by and watching this video. I'm going to be doing a lot more live content because I just feel like there's value in it, and I'm seeing a lot of videos out there that, in my opinion, tend to be a lot of clickbait, personally. That's just my opinion of it. That also might be my age, just showing how old I am. But a lot of like, oh, well, you can get $20,000 by just doing this, and you get it in the mail, and you don't have to do anything, and all I got to do is type in an address, and I'll have buyers coming to me. And that's really not how this business is, okay? It's really a lot more work than that. And so you're going to have to develop a lot of skills to be able to find the sellers, and you're going to have to develop skills to be able to find the buyers. And if you think that you're going to be able to just type an address on a particular website just to see if they have on Buybox, whatever it might be, you think that they're going to buy your property, you're sadly mistaken. Okay, the types of properties that they want on there have to fit certain parameters. They're very, very specific about what their buy box is, and it's a lot harder than it seems, which is why you need to develop the skill of negotiating and being able to find your own buyers, and you're going to make a lot more money. Now, just to recap real quick, for the people that are still on here, I wrote this book. I'm really, really proud of this book. It's called Deal Like a Dove, Dispo Like a Dragon. It's 400 pages of no fluff on how to build this business. It's not a manual. It's not some 20-page PDF. It's a physical book that I put everything I had into it, and you can find it on Amazon. You can go to Dove, D-O-V-E, .dispodragons.com, dove.dispodragons.com, and you'll be able to purchase the book there. It's also available on Audible. If you purchase it and then you send me a picture, or you just do a social media post of you with the book, tag me in it, tag Dispo Dragons in it, I will send you a coupon code, right, for the free Audible version of it, all right, just as a thank you for doing that for me. Lastly, we have our community on School. It is School, SKOOL .dispodragons.com, school.dispodragons.com, and it's another community where we pour our heart and soul into it. So if you need help, if you have questions, you're more than welcome to go in there, participate, ask the questions. I ask everyone to ask questions inside of the community so that way other people can benefit from the answers that you're going to get, from the responses that I am going to give, so that way everybody else can hear. Because if you have a question about something, there's a strong chance, there's a strong possibility that somebody else also has the same exact question. So please post it on there. I'll make sure that one of us replies on there. And then lastly, if you ever need help with the deal, if you ever need a second set of eyes, if you're in a deal and you need to renegotiate it, okay, that does happen. You'd be surprised, right? If you just have a little bit of help, if you just have someone who's been in the business a little bit longer, go in there and try to help you renegotiate the terms of the contract, ask for an extension on the contract, maybe even negotiate some type of repairs or something. If you need help with that, you find yourself in the contract and now you're like, okay, I don't know what to do. I probably negotiated this wrong. Get a hold of us, get a hold of me, and what we can try to do is go in there and try to clean that contract up. Okay?